I grew up in real poverty, you know, maybe not the poverty that some people around the world may experience as poverty, but I know what it's like when we didn't have money to put on the electricity meter. I saw my mum struggle, I saw all of that stuff happen, and I didn't want that to happen to me. Now, when she passed away, even though I was in employment, working a 9 to 5 wasn't enough. I lacked that support. And the one thing I can say about my friends at that time, even though looking back on it now they were very negative, is that I had my place within that group. They looked up to me. I saw them as family. And not only that, but I knew that certain times of the week it was easier to make money. And that's how it all started. But the problem with it is that once I'd done it once, it became very hard to sort of pretend that I didn't know what was going on and exit effectively. So it really was very, very hard work and intensive work and ongoing work really for me to sort of stop. And it really didn't come to a head until I went into prison. And when I was in the prison, I got to see these so-called friends, these so-called family for what they really are. And the only people that came and saw me in prison was my sisters. Nobody else came to see me, and my ex-girlfriend, I should say. But no one else really came to see me. And as for them, I just felt, hang on a second, I spent all of this time fighting for a name, fighting for a reputation, but the reality was none of it existed in the long run. And so I really focused my attention on trying to help other people who I kept seeing again and again break the cycle, and the rest is history. What any young person wants really, freedom, autonomy. Most young people would want to think that actually they're in control of their own lives, that they can be a boss, that they can have what they want, what they dream of. And that's partly to do with society, isn't it? We kind of put this big focus on having fast cars, glamorous lifestyles, all of that sort of stuff. And most young people want that. They want that respect, they want that freedom, they want that autonomy. And so when you're involved in that group, you can have all of that. You can have respect. You can create respect. I learned very early on that I could, by creating a little bit of fear, by looking at somebody in a certain way, I could create fear in that person, and that would get them to do what I wanted them to do. And that was easy for me. For young people, even more so. It just means that actually it's a sense of belonging, rather than, oh, that dreary estate over there. Actually, you can say, well, no, I belong to something. I belong to that group. That's me. Who are you? Who are you to judge me? The reality is that London gangs represent a very real threat. Certainly, if you look at the victims, just the victims alone, over the past few years, even though there's been a reduction since 2008, there are still very real innocent victims being caught up in the crossfire, and it devastates and ravages communities. In terms of gangs and drugs, we're seeing drug lines established across the country. That's a very, very serious issue, and together with its associated crimes that's part of it. I also think in terms of young people, we're certainly seeing the recruitment age of young people getting younger and younger.